Okay. So welcome everybody to the fourth class in the series of Mastery of Loving, the Journey of Conscious Relationships. I really am pleased that you're here tonight. My name is Claudine Chiarmonte, and it's going to be an exciting night. This is my favorite in the 4 classes, and Hal knows it, because this is where the rubber hits the road. You hear a lot of people talking about breaking patterns. What does it really mean? And that's where we're going to go tonight. Of course, with my PowerPoint movement. There we go. Okay. People have wondered why I chose a 6-month course. I want to just say this. It's an overtime thing. We learn to love over time in connection. And that was the vision I had. We've had the community who keep coming back. We have a Facebook group where people are part of the collective and the conversations can continue in ever way. This is really about understanding ourselves more deeply. And again, cultivating love starts early in life and right to the last breath. So that's where we've been. So tonight's class is on breaking cycles and creating conscious love. And as I just said before, I think all of us would willingly break cycles in our lives and patterns for more peace, greater authenticity, for conscious love. And that is not the easiest thing to do. And we're going to talk about that tonight. This is an interactive class, so I'm going to welcome everybody to that tonight. I want to say thank you for being here. You could be anywhere tonight, and you chose to be here, and I am grateful for that. My name is Claudine Chiarmonte, as I stated before. I have been a psychotherapist for 32 years. I've been a coach for 10 years, but I've really been in the human behavior industry for all these years, right? As an executive, as a therapist, as a coach, I've loved being in people's worlds, understanding their perspective, what makes them tick, because it's in relationship that I've also learned about me. And that's the gift that this class, I hope, is that in communication and community, you'll learn something tonight and impact your world. So thank you for that. And I'm going to bring it in. Few ground rules. I do ask everyone if they can come off their camera. You get from this class what you put in, right? The more sharing and the places you're willing to go to and be held, the more you can get from it. So I want to say confidentiality is very sacred this evening, right? I ask people, don't offer advice. Let's just respect where people are, offer them empathy, agree to boundaries. What's said in this class stays in this class. We can come from this place of curiosity. I think Ted Lasso said it best, right? Right? More curiosity, less judgment. And if there's a boundary you need, I'd ask you to speak up tonight and let us know about it. Thank you. For those who were not here for the 3 classes prior, yes, they're all available on replay, but really went into our attachment styles in our first class and where the patterns start. Because patterns really, not always, often are where our interaction is between ourselves and our primary caregivers, our mothers and fathers. If we have a mother and father, whoever our caregiver was, our primary love object, we start to understand how that person wants to receive love or the conditions of that love. Second class, we really start talking more about healing the inner child and the adolescent. It's another significant place in our life, right? It's a place where we experience our first love, our first heartbreaks. I'm sorry, this is Cap 2. I apologize. We start to get into adolescence in class 2, is in class 3 that we got into our first heartbreak and how our body holds memory. So we also got into some somatic practices. And that's important. And tonight is another place, right? We're going to build on this with patterns. So how do we interrupt relational patterns? What does it mean to be reactive versus conscious in relating and communicating? We're going to work on, again, some more somatic regulation practices, right? People use all different words, but dysregulation is another word for trigger, trauma response. So we're going to talk about that. Really using some repair scripts. Yeah, if there's a rupture or fight, how do we use compassion language to help repair? We're going to go over some, give you some real things you could say in your relationships. And then again, we'll do some activities where we get a place to try out and see what we're creating relationally. Any questions? I'd ask you to raise your hand. Al will call upon you. I want to dive in because this, like I said, is my favorite class. Social media is talking a lot about this, but what we don't repair, we repeat. Right? We never are doing this because we want to harm somebody. We're doing this for safety. Does everyone get that? You'll get that we're doing this for safety, right? Our patterns are protecting our parts. What do I mean by that? Our patterns are how I've learned to interact with you. And it's protecting a part of us that is maybe more fragile, more injured, more younger than us, more vulnerable than us. So, right, often we're repeating the patterns because we're reenacting a wound from early childhood. No bad, no wrong here. This is really what is familiar to us. That's what I'm going to keep saying. This is familiar. I'll give you an example. I come from a very large Mediterranean family, Sicilian and Syrian. And for us, food is love. Overgiving is love. Overdoing is love. We call that people pleasing in our field. But the fact is, that pattern is because none of us could trust that we were going to be loved for who we were. So the over and over and over. Imagine if somebody in our family was just to say, Claudine, you're enough the way you are. You don't have to overgive. That couldn't be communicated because it's a generational pattern. And I bet you everyone can relate to that a little bit. So, right, this is going to be to break a pattern that we all want it. It's going to be uncomfortable, risky, and it's over time. I'm going to tell you, it's always going to be worth it. So let's start back where we all started from. We started in the attachment styles. Anybody remember this? Right? The core area for the person with an anxious attachment style is the fear of abandonment. That means our patterns of how I interrelate are always about, ensuring that I don't get abandoned. And guess what? People get abandoned. Micro abandonment is I turn away from you. I didn't call you what I said. And of course, ending a relationship is the ultimate. Very thing that someone with an anxious attachment style happens, and that cements, I've got to do something to keep that person here, to keep love. The avoidant is the one that fears I'll lose myself. I won't have myself. I'll be so engulfed in this relationship. So they're always backing away. So then what is the conditions of how do I safely stay in and out all the time? But yet they crave intimacy. So again, what's the pattern that I'm going to create in my relationships to ensure someone loves me, but they don't smother me? Disorganized is the fear of both. Right? They're both attachment styles. And of course, when we talk about a secure attachment style, it means that we've reached a place where we both recognize we're dysregulated, triggered, trauma response, again, any of the words, and we choose to talk about it in the moment, maybe even do something together to bring back some level equilibrium. Any questions? Please feel free to ask, right? So attachment styles are map. They're not a life sentence. I said this in our first class. These, you have the ability to move in this. It's not like, I took an exam and I have an avoidant attachment style. I am forever avoidant. No, it's a continuum. So I say to all of my clients, we all have secure attachment. And in default, under stress, I go back to my avoidant attachment style. That's my style, right? But when I'm regulated and I'm connected and conscious, I'm in my secure attachment style. All of you are, just so we're aware of that. Okay. So anybody want to share where they go when they're in stress? What's their avoidant attachment style? Right? When triggered, reactive. Anyone know their attachment style? They want to share it? Just raise your hand. If you don't know what I'm talking about, whoops. I'm more than happy to share a little bit more. Jen Lynn has her hand up. Okay. Do you want to move her?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I suppose I'm a combination of what's it called?
Disorganized?
Disorganized
Yep.
and secure because I'm very good at, I never let anything slide. I like to address things. I need to understand things. So I can have hard conversations, but also depending on the severity of what someone is sort of like pushing or pulling me through, I'll
Yeah.
either want to cut bait and just write them off and never, ever, ever talk to them again, or I freak out when I see their name pop up on my phone and I need to know what they said and I need to know how to resolve this. So it's more like I need to understand things, and that
Yeah.
puts me in a state of reacting to whatever is being thrown at me.
Great insight, right? That need to understand. Because probably there's times in your life, especially when you're younger, you didn't. You were just subjected to. So right now, how you take care of yourself is let's get down to it. I want to know the details. I want to understand what's happening so I can go back to secure. Wonderful self-awareness, Jalen. Thank you for sharing and getting us started tonight. Really much appreciate that. Anytime anyone wants to share, contribute, again, what we put into the class, we get out of it. So as I keep alluding to, it's not always, but often we will see this pattern starts in our inner child, right? Our younger part of ourselves. Part of ourselves is protecting, right? So great. Some of us do believe that we had to do something to be loved, something we had to do to be safe, right? So often people who think we had to do something for love, right? It's, I have to figure out what that person needs. I have to anticipate, someone's needs before my own. I have to overgive. I have to sacrifice myself. That's where these patterns start. Or we watched our parents do that to each other, to us, right? We do this to stay safe. So I really always say, let's be compassionate when we're looking at this. This is not a time to be harsh, like, I can't believe I did that again, or how dare I, and why haven't I? And I'm useless. Here's for my clients all the time. They're so harsh on themselves, right? It doesn't mean you don't get to be accountable, but right, we're not going to shame ourselves into change. We can only compassionately love ourselves there. Right? Because when we have unmet childhood needs, we learn how to hide and perform. We learn how to mask to be who people need us to be. It's a survival skill. It has consequences. Anyone relate to people pleasing as one of the ways that they have learned to cope? Show of hands. Anybody else? Okay. See some people with their hands up. Yeah. Nothing, right? Like, again, let's be compassionate to the inner child. If you were in other classes of ours, we actually went back to the age of when that child had a need, because that's what we really get to do. And we're going to talk about that tonight. It's a practice over and over again. So here we are. We're finally using the word conscious love, class 4, and I have never gotten a chance to say this. Right? Often we see people in a reactive state. You made me angry. You made me feel neglected. If you didn't say that, I wouldn't have had said that. So you notice my tone of voice often is giving my power and blame to the other person. That's reactivity, right? That is not grounded. I've given my power away. I gave my voice away. Anyone recognizing this? Have anyone said anything like that in a relationship? Because I know I have. I know I have blamed my partners for how I feel. And what I'm really saying is, in conscious love, I take ownership for how I feel. Let's be clear, conscious is a state of awareness. That is a common definition. So we're saying I'm aware of my state, and I'm going to choose that type of love, which is presence. It's not about anything I have to do. I've said this time and time again. You are inherently worthy of love by being here, being born. Don't need to do anything. I know none of us maybe fully believe that, We're saying in conscious love is, I choose to love you for who you are, not for what you do for me. So that means I also can't blame you when things aren't going the way I want them to go, or I'm having feelings and I don't want to acknowledge them. I'm having the feelings. So, example, a lot of people, I lash out, versus saying, you're not making me feel safe in this relationship. You didn't call me enough times today. I told you I needed more calls versus, hon, I noticed I'm really upset today. And I noticed I needed more phone calls and reassurance. Can you do that for me tomorrow? It's a really different way of coming about it. Instead of leading and projecting with our reactivity, we're taking ownership of what our needs are in a loving relationship. This could be with a partner, a family member, a friend. Understand, conscious love is not just romantic love, though we're often going to talk about that in the class. Again, if anyone has any questions, please raise your hand or put comments in the chat. Right. I will say, when we come from conscious love, it gives the space for two truths: my experience and my truth, and yours. It's not, I have to be right, and that means you have to be wrong. It means we both have an experience, and there's enough space for both of us to have that experience. Here it is. This is where the rubber hits the road. We see this a lot in social media, so I thought it would be a great start right here. Most times people will say, this is so unfamiliar, it doesn't feel safe. Let's recognize we are wired for connection, but we're actually wired also for protection. So breaking a pattern is not going to be like easy. It's familiar to me. People pleasing is in my genes, genetically, literally, right? I've watched 2 or 3 generations of women in my family. So I got the same messages. Breaking that is going to go against my grain. We're going to talk about what do we need to do then to break it, right? And that also means I need to be patient with myself. I can't believe I just did that again. I just took care of them over me. Yeah. But when we get under it, what was really going on? What was the need that I had that I sacrificed my needs for somebody else? And right, that for me is really old and I'm really young. So that really tends to tell me that there was something I needed to give myself and I didn't do it. So I did the familiar thing, which is I gave to you first and not to me. Anybody? Does that sound familiar to anybody in the class? Hal, Dawn, Stephanie, anybody else? I mean, they recognize some of themselves in this, in these patterns. Yeah, right? Not a bad wrong. Hear me. This is the human experience. We're all having it, though. We're all having it. It's not just you, it's everybody. Right. So I often will say, to a partner, if I know I'm working on something, right, that second quote is, be patient with me, because it impacts relationships when we're in a pattern. It's right. It's the codependency. The two of us get locked in our pattern together. Couples then create their own patterns. So I have mine, you have yours. We're in a relationship, then now we create ours. But if I'm trying to break mine, people pleasing, I may need to ask myself for patience. I may need to ask my partners, whoever I'm in relationship with, to be patient with me. I'm working on it. Okay. You're going to notice really compassionate tone. We often talk about how compassion is the way to be with ourselves. And yet I don't sense that everyone knows how to do that all the time. Okay. What's happening here? So we're going to get into interrupting this cycle. First, we've got to stop and go, what's going on? These are the 3 A's of interrupting a cycle. It's awareness, accountability, and action. The awareness is that it's happening. Remember, it's familiar. It's automatic. Pattern, cycle. I use those words on purpose. Think about a cycle. In our washing machine, it goes on automatically. We hit play or start and it just goes. It goes, right? It fills up the water. It has agitation. It spins, it rinses. somewhere we have to slow down and say, what's happening here? This is where we get to actually take a look at, is this something I've learned to get love? One of my classes, I said, we either do for love or from love. When we're in a cycle or a pattern, we're doing it for love. I have to notice that. It doesn't mean that you can't still go and say, you know, something, well, I was doing that for love. I was gonna cook them dinner. It doesn't mean once you have awareness, you can't go, you know, I'm still gonna cook them dinner because I choose. That's very different from an automatic. Because you stopped, you had awareness, you owned it, and you took a new action, which is I still am going to choose to cook. But if it's not, and you recognize this is my accountability, I am actually doing this to somehow reassure love, then I can take a new cycle. I can take a new action. I'm sorry. I can actually shift the pattern right there. My partner doesn't even need to know. This could all be, you're doing it all on your own. Instead of coming home and automatically, I'll cook the dinner, I'll take care of the clothes, I'll put the load of laundry. Like, whoa, wait a second. That's me on my automatic. It could be, I don't want to do for love tonight. Hey, let's do it together. That shifts the cycle. The minute you put it outside yourself or you acknowledge to yourself, I'm not doing that, that's a new action. What's next is I'm not going to do all that. I'm going to only do what feels right for me. Does that make sense to everybody? This may be a very quick slide, but it's not a very quick process. Because when we're in automatic, guess what? We're not thinking about it. The dishwasher and the wash machine aren't, they're programmed. So are we. This started in my childhood. This is just how I'm used to showing up. I don't do this intentionally. So we're slowing down. I'm out and I'm doing work and I have people in therapy, we're working on a pattern. So we're gonna have some things to kind of look at. We're gonna have things to practice. So there's awareness here. So there's some heightened awareness. When you're looking to break a pattern, you're gonna be more aware of it. Anybody have one they would want to share? A pattern they would love to interrupt in their life or that they're working on? I really want to encourage people to share tonight. If there's something you truly are working on or would like to work on as a cycle interrupter, this is the place to do it tonight. If you have the courage, like I'm more than happy to keep sharing about myself. It's fine. But you can get value here this evening too. And that's what I want to welcome anybody into. And yes, we say breaking a cycle is risky and not familiar and it's uncomfortable. And remember, this is a safe space. Just want to keep reassuring everybody about that. Right. So we're going to practice some of that. Jenny Lynn, I appreciate your courage.
I don't want to be the only person sharing all this. I'm just like, I have a very weird habit of or pattern of weaning off of people I'm dating instead of just ending it. And sometimes, particularly when they've been sort of abusive or abusive to my heart, or when they're really someone I should leave and tell them to hit the road or block them. I have it's almost impossible feeling for me to block people. But I have this thing where like I will break up with them and then take their calls and let them explain and then sometimes see them for coffee and then sometimes I'll sleep with them for a while and do it less and less and less until I feel okay to kind of walk away from it. But I don't just say, this is bad for me. I want what's good for me. I'm done and leave. It's a
Okay.
very bizarre pattern, but it's happened a lot.
It's a familiar pattern. Would you agree with that word?
Well, yeah, because it's what I always do.
So, right. The fact is, you're doing what is familiar and comfortable and what you're used to.
Yeah.
Idea of actually ending it quicker, because I heard you say something like, you actually know the relationship's not good for you.
Yeah.
You used the word abusive, right? That
Yeah.
first, I call it the first like insight, the first, we don't always follow it, but that's actually the truth though.
Right.
We often see the red flags before we actually start getting serious about dating somebody. Like, oh, I think that person doesn't share their emotions too easily. And then later on, we're like, oh my God, I can't be with this person. They don't share their emotions easily.
Yeah.
The more that you have the awareness of listening for the first insight, you will leave quicker. Because once you get into the relationship, the pattern starts. You have a role in that pattern. So do all of your partners. And once you get in your role and they get in their role, it just keeps going and it's hard to disengage. So awareness may be for you. Yes, you can break the cycle quicker in the relationship, but I want to encourage you to listen to the wisdom that you get before you even commit to the relationship. Do you ever get yellow or red flags?
You mean submit to starting up the
Yeah,
relationship?
yeah. Even when you're first dating, you're not
Yeah, for sure.
right. But what has you override that? And we all do. So hear me, I'm not putting you on the spot. I've overridden it myself several
You
times.
know you know what it feels like to me? It feels like a knee-jerk avoidant tendency in me that I take a breath and I go, "You know what? I'm looking for things that are wrong, and I'm trying to just kick this person out. Let me give it a shot. Even though there's things here I think are not ideal or not maybe for me or may not be a good match, let me give it a go. Maybe they'll surprise me. Maybe I'm wounded and thinking, nope, throw them out, throw it out, throw it out." And like every time I do that, it usually ends up being really a really bad thing. Like the
Yeah.
relationship or
Yeah.
ends very bad.
So notice, and I appreciate you sharing this for everybody because this is not just for you, this is everyone. You talked yourself into it.
Yeah,
You overrode your own wisdom, intuition, whatever word we want to call it, and convince yourself to give it a try. It must be you versus this just may not be compatible.
right,
Right? I encourage everyone to have some non negotiables in a relationship. If they're not there when you're dating, everything after that is you're dating for potential, which
right.
most of us have done and most of us
Yeah.
do. The hope that it will, that maybe it'll change. No, we saw it in the beginning.
Mhm.
That may be the awareness. And if you're in the relationship, recognize, oh, I'm in the pattern. I really encourage
Mhm.
people to call themselves out on the pattern or even have a name for it, right? Like, oh, I'm doing the lotus thing or I'm doing the mud thing again, right? Like, I keep thinking the potential of a lotus to grow in here, and it's not the conditions for a lotus to grow. Ah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. If someone's willing to work on their pattern with you, that's a very different outcome. It may not
Mhm.
be the I'm leaving. It could be, wow. So how can we each call each other out on that in a loving way? There is ways that we can break a pattern and be in relationship. And
Yeah.
I'll talk about that in a little bit more. But
Okay.
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank
I'm
you. If
just
I
going to
dig
keep
one
saying,
if Yeah, if I dig one level deeper, I just wanna say I am aware that that behind saying, "Why don't I give it a chance?" is that there's being love offered to me on a silver platter, and it's a weird thing for me to say no to. I'm like, when
yep,
someone wants to love you, you just let them. That's
yep,
like a weird rule that I have, so that's the rest of it.
that is so. Thank you. When you said that, you should have seen everybody's head going like up and down in the all the participants in the call with you. So yep, I can do it too.
Like, I may
How
as
to
well
walk
let you
away?
love me.
Seriously, who's going to walk away from love?
Yeah,
It's painful, and love that does not meet us attuned is never going to meet us fully,
yeah,
right? It's just not. We're gonna miss in the incompatibility. We're not really there. But I hear
yeah,
you. I think that exact thing is what most of us stay for or go back. It's love. At least it's love. I know it's love. I'm familiar with. I know this pattern. I know this person.
yeah,
And if I leave, I don't know. I don't
right.
know yet. And I certainly know I won't have to love.
Yeah, and
Really
to be
keeps
fair,
us.
I never loved them. I just let them love me for a while until they hurt me really bad, and then I'm like, "Well, that backfired."
Yeah. So maybe the
So, yeah.
pattern change for you will be entering a relationship when you actually feel the love too.
Yes. Yes.
Otherwise, it's never really going to be a fulfilling love. It's never going to be a conscious love. It's
Yeah.
one sided, right? And love
True.
really gets to be two people fully in their commitment of it. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. So I put this here because part of breaking patterns is really how we repair after rupture. What do I mean by that? Anybody here recognize that they're still carrying some resentments? Maybe they're still never really forgave somebody, or we just keep having the same argument, Claudine, over and over. So our arguments become a pattern. He's going to say this, I'm going to say this. He sees it this way, I see it that way, which tells me there's really never been a repair, a grounded, accepted repair. Now, we can't do it too quickly. Rupture, by the way, is a fancy word for a disconnection in a relationship. If we think about what Esther Perel says, relationships are a series of connection, disconnection, and reconnection. What we're really talking about this is how do we reconnect after a disconnection? So that's what repair is. It tends to the disconnection and the reconnection. So without that, we get stuck in the pattern of distancing. I'm right, you're wrong. Here you go again. Or I have couples that I see in sessions that they're like, I was really upset with you the other night when you didn't call me as you said. And then the other person replied, I'm upset with you for 5 years ago. And this literally was in a session. 5 years ago, when we were separated, you dated somebody I knew. What? Now, right, there's an old hurt then, or there's a weaponized past. I call it weaponizing our past. So now the rupture can't really be repaired because I'm not open to it versus can we walk this through? And tonight in this class is one of the things that I would really like to walk through with everybody. And we will have some interaction around this. I'm going to go over these steps. Ask anytime you want. But repair really is about slowing down. Same with breaking a pattern. What does that mean, Claude? You keep saying slow down. Because in the heat of emotionality, we are offline cognitively. We're in our emotions, right? It can either be in our emotions or in our logic. In our emotions, we don't have access to maybe saying something in the way that is most helpful. Right? So we have to slow down to really reset ourselves. I call it regulate. So we'll talk about some somatic practices tonight. We've done that in past classes. It's really time to kind of calm ourselves down before we engage. Anybody here recognize when someone's at it, they just go at it? I know I've done it. I'm going to prove my point. You're going to prove your point. We're not going to get anywhere till one person chooses to slow it down. Sometimes we ask for timeout, step away. Just going to encourage everyone to practice the pause and regulating. You can co-regulate. So what do I even mean by regulation? That is a mindful moment. We take a few deep breaths. In by 4, we hold by 4. Exhale 4 seconds. It could be we take a walk together. It could be I go and put an ice pack on my vagal nerve. I'm not sure if everyone here knows what I mean by the vagal nerve, but at the base of your neck to the tip of your big toe is a nerve. And when we get activated, triggered, it gets really tight. And we're offline here. We're really stressed. Until we can pause and calm down and relax that nerve, we're really not going to have clear thinking. We're not really going to be conscious, meaning have self-awareness. So some form of regulating. I use the word co-regulation because we can often do this together or as a group. One of the best is when people walk together. You'll notice after a while, their walk becomes the same, their steps. If they sit in front of each other, slowly their breath matches each other. They start to mirror each other. Best way is singing and humming because the vagal nerve is right here on our jawline. It's connected. So when we hum, we're loosening that nerve, and our mind is now on the song we're humming. We're not in the activated material. Okay, so step one. Sorry for that long explanation, but I don't know if everyone knows what I mean by regulating. Two is we acknowledge the impact. We recognize it's not I'm wrong and you're right. That's not what we're saying. Is I recognize the way I spoke just now really was harmful. I've recognized that I was so offline before that I couldn't even see your side, that I shut you down. That's all we're saying. It's not wrong, right. We're taking responsibility. We're owning where we came from, what we did. Taking responsibility, acknowledge the impact, take responsibility. And we express some form of care, that there's this idea that I recognize it impacted you. That's not what I want. I sense your body tensed up. Yeah, I got really angry and scared. I'm so sorry that in that moment, I may have created unsafety for us as a couple. Can you accept my acknowledgement? Will you take a walk with me? Right? If there's a yes, we're moving into repair. If there's hesitation, we're not. What else do you need? I don't know if I'm ready. Okay. Do you need some space, or do you want to take some time and talk about this in a little while? Yeah. How about 10 minutes? Okay. Then I'm responsible in 10 minutes to come back to this conversation. If it's an hour, let's check in an hour. Are you better? Are you able to explore? Yeah, I can. I can see and acknowledge what you had to say, and I can now acknowledge my part in this. Because once we become that, we become a we again. It's not you versus me, it's a we. And then we can come up with our plan. This is not taught to us anywhere. I have never seen this. I didn't see this until we started to see it in social media. We're starting to see people like Esther Perel, like people that are actually starting to talk about, what do we do with relationships in conflict? What do we do with relationships that want to break the patterns? I want to keep harming each other. You can get these steps. I have a companion guide tonight to this class. Everyone that attends and registers will get this. So you don't have to take notes. I will literally, these steps, and I really encourage practicing with somebody. It's not natural. It's not our usual way to be with each other. Anybody have questions? I see a question. What if their wounds are bleeding over you and blame? They're not owning that. I'll own my part. It's a great question, Kim, and thank you for saying that. It often happens this way, where one is not willing to the other. What we can do is say what you've said, in the sense that I've taken ownership, right? I'm going to ask you to. If you cannot, I don't know, I'm not sure how we move forward, hon. How can we reach back to safety and we-ness if we don't? Now, if someone is committed to being in their victim role, because they think if they acknowledge any impact, that means they're saying they're wrong, it's going to be challenging him, right? I would say it may be a good time to get someone to work together with the two of you, but I can also say that it's about the we. Right? I would constantly bring it off, because often in relationships, you're responsible, I'm responsible, like, right, we want to do this versus the us. This is for the relationship. This is not, I get to score one in my column. I see how hard that is. And it does take a long time. It is over time, it's slow, because remember, safety and familiarity. It may feel very unsafe for somebody to actually have to acknowledge any impact. So they're not going to. Right? You're safe here, hon. It's small increments. I hope that helped, Kim. If you want to come off camera at any. Maggie asks, how long to take time, and they say they need time but never want to talk about it again. That's avoidant. So right then for me with that, and I appreciate there's no clarity, that we're stuck on number 3, because if I say I want to talk about it, then there's a follow through. It's as much of a commitment that says I will pick you up at 5. When you say we want to talk about it later, let's set a time. I would never go with, I don't want to talk about it. We'll talk about it later. Okay, what's later? An hour? Tomorrow? I get a calendar out. And I'm not saying this from a place of rigidity. It's a place of accountability to the relationship, because the pattern in our lives from our parents or maybe us in our relationships is, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm going to gaslight it. This is all your experience. I don't know what you're talking. We're looking to break a pattern. Relationally, that's a pattern. We say, yeah, I'm going to deal with it. And what it really was a performance to say, let's get off this topic. They didn't want to deal with it. So are they regulated? Do they need help around that? You want to take a walk together and get off the topic for now. Because when we're elevated, it is that I'm going to take power back and I'm not talking to you about it. They're not regulated. How about we stop talking about it and we go for a walk? How about we go do something together? I would encourage that, or come back in 10 minutes. I'm going to go take a walk. I don't know. They may enjoy reading as their way of regulating, or, doing something else, smoke a cigar. I don't know. But that's how I would continue to do that. I feel like there's another comment over here, but I missed it. I trust that people will keep writing them. So this is where I would like group practice. I'm hoping people can come off the screen. These are not natural comments. These are not things. I have an Instagram series that I've been doing called Talk to Me Like Someone You Love. It's a book I'd highly recommend. And it really is like 130 something phrases you can use when you're activated, triggered, dysregulated, whatever word you prefer to use for yourself. It's you recognize something's happening in the relationship. And instead of getting back into our pattern of blame game, your fault, why can't you admit it? It's always you. You always do this. You're just like your father. You're just like your mother. We regulate in practices. I'm going to ask anyone to come off camera who just want to get practice in saying these as a group, because these are not typical things that most of us go to. I've had to work really hard to get these in my vocabulary, to get these as options for myself. And I still don't always get there. Anyone willing to come off camera and say a few of these or practice it? And I'm intentionally wanting you to practice. I want you to feel what it feels like in your body to go, I'm triggered. Can we slow down? That is not a natural thing for us to say, but that is what a new awareness and a new action is. I'm not seeing anyone raise their hand. No one raising their hand. Okay. Hal, I'm going to trust you on this. I can't right now see everybody. So, whoops. If anyone does, raise your hand. I care too much to walk away. Think about what that would sound like to an anxious, attached person. If they could hear that in midst of conflict, I care too much to walk away. Because that's the fear happening for someone who's anxious, the fear of abandonment. So the partner is like, I care too much to walk away, but right now, I want something different too. Let me try again. I have some other ones like, can you say that in a different way? I want to hear you. Because how you're saying it is triggering me. And I really want to hear what you have to say. That's not saying you're bad and wrong. That's saying I'm right. It's a request to have a new way of communicating together. Again, very different. Or I'm in stress. Right now, I need your love. I don't need to be told what to do. I don't need a lecture. I don't need you to solve my problems. Just need your love right now. That's very different than blame and collapse. I love the last one. It's hard to admit I might be wrong. I don't know about you, but I know I've had arguments where I'm not even sure what the hell we're arguing about anymore. What are we doing? We're fighting to protect. That's what we're doing. A younger part of us. A younger part. Please come on camera if you can. I would love anyone. Thank you, Hal. I feel like I've said this thing, but I haven't heard them back. Possible, Maggie. I appreciate your trying them. And I'm not sure if your partner is being exposed to these kind of scripts because they're not. This is not typical. I don't even see these on Instagram. It's really why I decided to do the series. I don't think we hear what we should do. We should go regulate. Okay, one, I don't need, some people don't even know what that means. Then how do I talk if I'm now regulated? That's really why I want to give some people some words. You may actually have to give your partner some words. And some people like, no, Claudine, I've had this in sessions. Why do I have to tell them what to do? Because no one has. You found it. I'm happy for you. Your partners may have never been given these simple little words, so they wouldn't know. It's okay to say, hey, when I'm in distress, this is what I really need to hear from you. I've got you, and I just want to slow down and do this together. Okay, write it down. That's your post-it. That's okay to give our partners. I call it like it's like giving the key to not your heart, but key to peace. Why would we not give it? We often go, no, they should know it. I figured it out. They should. You found it. Can you be that light for them? And if it's not there, I also hear you. But right at first, I would try these things out. I often will have couples practice these in sessions and in conflict and come back and see what does it do. And I'm going to tell you, it will shift an experience. Anybody have a comment, anything they want to ask, try, give me an example?
Say, I one of the things that's come up for me and my wife is she gets upset at me because she feels I'm mansplaining at times and stuff like that. And I've gotten to the place of trying to remember to ask when we're talking about things, do you need me to hear you? Do you need me to help you? You know, or do you just need a hug sometimes? You know, and it has made a big difference in stopping it. It's my old pattern. I mansplain, I guess, but
Mhm.
I'm working on it.
First, I want to acknowledge you for admitting you're a man explainer. Thank you, Hal. You're like, that's your self awareness. You recognize somewhere that was a coping skill for you.
Yep.
I'm practicing it too. I'm an oversharer. I'm doing that tonight on this class. So I'm not oversharing tonight. I mean it. I notice I often over explained as a trauma response. I want to be understood. Right. What I hear you saying is you're now giving her those options means you get to meet her need and she gets to have her need met. I often say to couples, if you're having that, if you're in need, don't hope for mind reading. Say it. I just need you to listen tonight. I don't need you to problem solve for me. One of the things that people know me for is I call friends and I go, I just need to be witnessed. That means they don't do anything but go, wow, got you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They don't have to say anything. It's their mere presence. It's all I need that night. Very different when I do. I do call certain friends like, I am really unsure on this. I'm feeling overwhelmed and there's too many options. Can I talk this through? That's a very different request. But I love that you're meeting her where she is. If that is not your pattern and you're frustrated that your spouse or somebody may over-explain, then you may have to have a precursor for a while. I know I have people in therapy like, I tell my husband, like, I just need you to listen. But every time we talk, then you may have to put the precursor ahead, not as after. Not after. Just, hey, tonight. Because right, men are also coming home, and I'm using a very stereotypical, but men are coming home from jobs where that's what they've been asked to do all day. Solve, make decisions, solve, make decisions. So they come home, and by the way, women are being asked to do the same thing all day long. So they come home, it's like we're still stuck in some of our role. And the masculine energy, the men, that is how they've been also socialized, is to be problem solvers, not to be the empathetic listener. We've been socialized, women, to do that more. So there's patterns that are in place in our society. Thank you, Hal. That's great. Again, I just want to recommend that book. Talk to Me Like Someone You Love. It is When I tell you tiny, it's thinner than this finger, because all it is literally a script and then an explanation of it, a script and an explanation. That's all the book is. And it's a very helpful book. I'm going to keep going here. Yeah. There we go. So I feel like we missed something. No, we didn't. So I'm going to do a little practicing. So I know everyone, I feel like everyone's in their house. Yeah, people are in houses, they're sitting. We talk about regulating. I'm going to use the word grounding. I think we don't get it practice enough. So I really want to incorporate that in this class, because to repair, to break a cycle is not going to come when we're in the phonetic motionality, in the reactivity. It's going to come when we're, I'm going to use words like centered, grounded. I noticed my automatic, people just caught me on camera. I pulled back because I actually wanted to stand and go into my power pose. For me, that's my, I call it my Wonder Woman. In that position, my legs are firm on the ground. So I want to encourage a little somatic grounding right now in our class. Everyone wants to take a moment, just follow me on the breath. We're going to inhale on 4 seconds. We're going to hold for 4. And we're going to exhale for 6 seconds. Right? So we breathe in through our nose, 4 seconds. We're going to hold for 4. Release for 6 through our mouth. Inhale through our nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 6 seconds through our mouth. Keep this practice. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. It's a calming breath. The longer your exhale is, the more deactivated your body will become. Just want you have this magnificent mechanism with you all the time. The breath is right here. I tell this even, I'm an executive coach. I'm a retiree, executive, senior executive from the state of New Jersey. I would be doing this in meetings. No one knew. No one knew. My gosh. Governor Christie was upset and yelling. Let me tell you, we all were agitated. Can't show that in a meeting, not in a cabinet meeting. I'm doing the breath. You do it right with your partner sitting right across. They're never going to know, or we can invite them into it and do it together. That moment, it's co-regulating. We're doing it together. Other is touch. We're very responsive to touch. It's regulating. It's calming. So often, people who I work with in coaching and psychotherapy particularly will see me with my hand on my heart. Because there's a lot coming at me in sessions. People have a lot of generative energies. Right? I ground myself. So I stay present here. So anybody right now, put your hand on your heart. Just take a few breaths. It tends to be very soothing. I appreciate everyone doing that. The other is what we call getting grounded to our senses. Right? We can do this in many different ways. Right? Feel our feet on the ground. I have tile, so it's a little chillier on the ground, right? We can name objects, again, because I get present. I can see this lamp, see my water, see everyone's faces. Right? I can smell the onions from the chicken I've cooked. I can smell the diffuser with lavender in it. I can still taste some garlic and meth. I'm grounding myself to my experience. So I want to really encourage people, right? We can do objects, name. What we're doing is we're bringing ourselves to this moment. So I am not then in the blame game. I'm not in the hurt. Back to myself. Hoping that makes sense to everyone. Often we'll practice saying things like, I'm safe. There's someone named Louise Hay who is known for doing mirror work. And one of her affirmations every day, I say, the minute I wake up, that I have conscious thoughts, besides thank you, I will say, all is well. Everything is working out on my highest good. I am safe. I'm loved. I'm protected. It is my grounding little mantra. Those 3 short sentences. I'm safe. I'm loved. I'm protected. Now I am ready to have the next conversation. Anyone have anything that they want to share that they do somatically to reconnect themselves? Any practices that involve their body? It's an amazing, amazing mechanism we have here. Really, really want to encourage everyone to engage their body. Like taking a walk. I call it white noise. So a lot of my executives are meetings from literally the moment they walk in the office to the moment they leave. They showed me their schedule. They have nothing, no free space. So we talk about 5 minutes of white noise. And really what that means is 5 minutes of nothing. No looking, no emails, no phone, no noise. A lot of them prefer to take that outside, like in a courtyard. Those 5 minutes end up giving them more energy for their day, right? Because there's too much stimuli. So we really sometimes need to just reground. Just want to encourage everyone to do that. Again, especially when the emotionality is high and you recognize the pattern would be go at it. I'm going to tell you to stop and pause and do something different. That's a new action. Remember the 3 A's: awareness, accountability, and action. This would be a new action. I'm not saying in the middle of a situation you're going to maybe journal, and some people do. So I would, if you're someone who is more cerebral and you want to process it, lots of clients who do, a lot of them do it notes like on their phone. Some of them really like to carry a little journal with them. We can really go into like, oh, so I want to ask everyone tonight to take a moment. And I'm going to encourage everyone to share. What am I ready to change? What pattern have I wired in so much in my brain that I recognize it's going to take effort? It's not going to feel natural. It may take time. I'm actually ready to change this. What is the belief that I'm willing to rewrite? Because if I'm a people pleaser, and that's the pattern I'm ready to change, I've got to rewrite the belief about the fact that I don't have to do in order to be loved. Neither of them are easy. But I certainly always want to know I'm loved for who I am and not what I do for somebody. That's the icing on the cake. Is anybody willing to share tonight in the class? It's courageous. Remember, this is a safe space. I want to ask everyone to just give a moment. Do you need something before you do that? Maybe you need to feel more grounded. Some safety. Maggie.
I don't know about the what to change, but what belief do I want to rewrite? That I'm worthy of being loved in the way that I need and the way I want. That's hard for me. As the woman said before, I just sort of accept love however they give it to you, but I want to think that I'm worth enough to be loved the way I need to be loved and get the respect and response back. But I don't know change. I feel like I've been trying to change so much, but I lose myself by constantly changing to adapt to them.
Exactly. Can I ask you, when you said that I want the love that I need, what is the love that you need, Maggie?
To feel safe, secure, and desired, wanted.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
there's others, but
No,
mostly
it's
it's
very clear.
safety and just the reassurance that you want to be with me,
Okay.
not just with your words, but by your actions.
So the alignment, your words and actions need to match.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's what you need, very clearly said, by the way, Maggie, what have you been doing in light of not having those things? I heard you say a few things, but I want you to say it. What have you been doing?
That I haven't received that.
Happen. No, you right. So you said to us, this is what I want, but I'm letting them just give me what, because
Gotcha.
it's better than nothing. So on some level, you've been accommodating and accepting, I'll say, less than morsels.
Yeah, a lot of breadcrumbing. On my
That may
behalf,
be a change.
oh, that could be, yeah, don't accept breadcrumbing. On my behalf, I've been trying to rethink how I word things, take moments, give grace and understanding, and
Mhm.
say that, and acknowledge that I clearly am not a perfect person also, and I'm trying to, good old Gen X, we were raised the way we were raised, and we just say it like we say it, and try to not say it quite so harshly. Not say it
Mhm.
quite like that, have some thought behind what I say.
Okay.
And it's been received well, but still not getting entirely the back.
Okay. And they may not also have the capacity, understanding of what it is within them that's blocking them from giving you
Yeah.
alignment in desire, wantedness, safety either. So recognize it's not all about if I could get this right, then I can get it from that person. It's also someone's capacity
Yeah.
and where they are in their healing journey, right? Like some people you can ask them for it and they look at you, they know what the meaning of the words are, but they don't have a sense of their own safety.
Hmm.
So let me explain for a moment. We often want safety from somebody else. And I really want to reword that a bit. I need to have safety here.
Yeah.
Within myself. And so a lot of my clients go, Claudine, I don't have that. We have traumas that have gotten in the way of that, or they've never even stopped to think about it. So one, we have to create safety. Because if I have a sense of safety and hopefully my partner has their own, then we can co-generate safety here.
Hmm.
Because when they're acting out of safety, I'm going to have to take care of me. And then I go, this is not safe. This container is not safe right now because we're both not in a safe space. I have mine, you're not acting in a way. That's very different. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know where your love object is in that journey of even understanding, are they connected to a sense of safety? Are they even connected to, you use another word, security, I believe you said,
Hmm.
which I want to understand how you mean it. To me, security means I can count on you. There's trust. There's consistency.
Yes.
The big C word, right? If that's out within them or within yourself, the other person can't give it.
Hmm.
Again, it's got to be self-generated so that we can co-generate it together. And often in relationships, we're farming our safety and security out to the other person and going, you're not safe. Their behavior may not be safe. But the fact is, I don't even have safety. And I'm not saying that's your situation.
No, it's somewhat valid because you brought up the trauma.
Yep.
Going
And,
deep.
and they may too. Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of time, and sometimes I've jokingly said it's we're trauma bonded. We're not,
That would
and
be
I
accurate.
tend to gravitate to those, and I don't know how to break that.
Right. They're familiar. The trauma bonds or something is familiar in that person. You and I, meaning you and the other person, me and the other person, have experienced something in a way that we both processed it similar. So that's really where the trauma bond comes from, is that we both have this ouchie, right? And we think that in that moment it's safety. What ends up happening is we end up hurting the other's ouch in trauma bonding a lot,
Oh,
right? We
yes.
trigger the other person, not the fantasy, like, oh my God, we both get it. You've been hurt that way. I've been hurt. Oh my gosh. And that we think is nirvana and safety and security because we both get it. We would never do this to each other. And then we do it to each other. Right?
Cut out
Trauma
a
bonding.
V8.
Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate Maggie coming off mute and sharing with us tonight. Thank you. And that's the invitation for everybody. Are we ready? And what do we need to do? This is not a forced place. But if we want a new result, we will need to probably try something different. And I hear that most of you are. And it's like, oh, but I haven't gotten the result yet. Or, I haven't attracted that person yet. I'm right there with you. And we keep doing the work, and we do it in community. Right? There's nothing like having other people who are also in this journey with us. Right? Because we need the validation. We also need the love. We think, right? Sometimes we also can get some of the love from our friends in our groups and our communities. That's what I will also say. We're going to move into an activity next. Did I get this right? Yeah. We're going to go into a group. Hal will put you into a group. And there's 2 questions, right? That this is, if you're willing to practice something new, meaning, right? Like if you're willing to do a new behavior, rewire yourself in some way, what are you going to need to do differently? What support do you need? What support do you need? I'm going to break the pattern. What do I have to practice doing differently? So for me, I'm going to keep going back to people pleasing. For me, the practice is, here we go. Ready for it? No. It's the big word, no. And it's not because I want to do that to somebody, but I need to give that to me. This is not what I'm saying to the other person. I could say no to it, someone else. It's, I'm going to do this from love. No, Claude, it doesn't feel authentic. Then it's not. And I've got to practice that. And the support I do need from my family and friends that do know I'm working on this is, right, my hesitation is a no. And most people know that. If I'm not a hell yes quickly, they all look at me and go, forget it, it's a no. Now, I'm not asking them to take care of me. So that's not at all. But sometimes they call me out on it. And I'm like, thank you. You're right. Thanks for calling me out on it. Because I'm not. In my head, I'm trying to make it work. I'm trying to say, well, could I? I'm bending. No. So I want everyone to think about it. I do have a question. Do you have any advice for finding core beliefs? Oh, we started this session off with core beliefs. Not this session, this series. Core beliefs, for a moment, what I will say. Core beliefs are a thought that we have practiced over and over again till we actually believe it's true. I'll use a core belief of mine. I'm not good enough. I've been doing this for 33 years this year. I've heard, I'm not good enough. I'm not wanted. I'm a bother. I'm too much. Right? I think I just said I'm not wanted. But there's many other ones. That somewhere was a thought you had, or someone gave you that message because one person gave it to you, or a thought, and you like, that must be why I'm not getting this. I asked for that toy, mommy. What, right? Or your parents said, you're just so much. You're too much noise, too much talking. You then internalized, I'm too much, and built a structure of behaviors, thoughts, and feelings around that to protect and solidify, I'm too much. So I won't talk as much. I won't take up so much space. If I do, oh my God, I was taking up too much space. Oh, really? Right? I was too, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. That's where a core belief comes in. And so I say this to, who asked me that, gentlemen, to match that, I call it the eternal truth. This is a belief, not a truth. Remember, we think it's true. I once thought I wasn't good enough. I can now tell you BS on that. What's the eternal truth that my eternal truth is, I'm an aspect of divinity. I was never made by spirit, God, source, universe, whatever word you want to call. Nobody was made not good enough, right? My core belief and my eternal truth is, I'm an aspect of divinity. I am pure love. I am peace. I am abundance. I hope that answers your question. Core belief is an internalized thought we've had early on that got reinforced and then we protected. It's also, to use the language of tonight's class, it also becomes a pattern because that becomes our default when we're hurt, when we don't get what we seek. We go back, oh, there's the evidence. That core belief, damn it, I'm not good enough. That's why this relationship didn't work out, and just strengthens it. So I hope that answered the question. And if we're going to look at even breaking a core belief tonight, again, it's a pattern. What do you need to practice differently? I've practiced in a mirror. People who know my house know the affirmations that I have had on my mirror. That's what I do. I practice a new truth, the eternal truth. And what supports. So does anyone have questions? Seems pretty clear out. So everyone's going to go into breakout room. I don't know if it's going to be 2 people or 3. Hal, I'll trust you. And we're going to use the time, 3 minutes, everyone shares, a minute to wrap up. What do you want to practice differently, and what support? Because support's important. People think, I've got to do this alone. No, you don't need to do it alone. Everyone's out there thinking that. No, we go farther together. We go farther together. Okay. So yes, I'm just going to ask everyone to take a moment, and I'm going to ask for a few shares. And I want to just say this. The act of sharing actually is what diminishes shame. You've all heard that quote. Shame does not live when shared. It lives in silence. So there's nothing here. I mean, it's why I'm trying to openly share as much as I can. Is there anything that landed for you? Is there any pattern or support that you recognized? Anything that you noticed in your witnessing of your own?
What you said right now was like, yeah, you're right. I was kind of in my shame today about a situation, and we all 3 talked about what that thing was, the thing that's, causing the unrest. And I do feel a bit released that I was able to release that. And I think Adrienne and Dee were too. Yeah.
Wow. What a gift you gave each other then. Right? Because you witnessed. That means I'm hearing you say we all witnessed each other, and you did it in community. We don't tend to heal in isolation, though we do a lot of our own self-work. When we then do that with someone else, it kind of grounds it. It brings it into us. Like we have a new lived experience, Kim or Kimberly. I don't know, disrespect to your name. But you gave yourself and your 2 group members, Kimberly and Adriana, you gave them a gift tonight too. Thank you. Anything you want to share about the pattern or anything you learned about? If there's anything else, Kimberly, did you want to share anything else, Kimberly, about the pattern or anything, or is anything more? I just want to
Oh yeah, it's a big old pattern that needs to
okay.
But
Sure.
as far as getting support, like I'm kind of feeling the need to talk to somebody that understands how this happens, like you, or some, like really and truly, like because I can talk to friends, but this is, some of these things need to go deeper. I think for all of us, just really
Yep.
go deeper and break that break that pattern.
I appreciate it.
Repeatedly.
Yeah. And it is that repeated, using that word, it is the overtime, because the pattern has been around so long.
Yeah.
So people are like, but I worked on that, Claude. It's like, yeah, and it's going to come around again.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it, right? And then it's going to come around, right? Our hope is the reactivity and the recovery time gets shorter.
Yeah.
But it is. Thank you. Thank you. I will put here in the chat, anytime anyone wants to have a free call, that feel free. It's really what we're all here for. I'm more than happy to. Interesting. Now I see it. Well, that didn't come out right, that one. So I'm going to do that again. If you like to set up a connection call. Anybody else like to share of what they're noticing? That's what we're here for. Oh, come on.
Was it Jenlyn? Her and I found out we have the same negative voices from mother issues. And we just don't know how that voice keeps coming back to us, and has made these patterns in our life, and we just don't know how to break that completely, not for lack of trying, on both cases, her and I both. Sorry to
Great that you share that. So one, know that it may never, ever, ever leave you. But what we're really looking is not to have so much power or take you over. So do you mind sharing like one of the practices that you do when you notice that voice is back? Like, oh, sound like my mother.
You kind of hit it when you said the belief versus truth. And I reiterated, I was like, I hear that voice in my mother's head, but then I go and I say, well, I know I'm loved, or I know that I'm wanted because I have multiple students, I have lots of friends, I have, animals and children won't like you if you're a horrible person. It's like, or so the belief is said. Um, we wouldn't exist if we weren't some kind of civilized, lovable human being. But
Sure.
it's in the DNA of my structure, and I don't know how to extricate it.
One is I would actually give yourself a new eternal belief or a new eternal truth. So if mom was, you're not good enough, I'm just using that as an example, or you son of a bitch, you dirty, blah, 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 whatever, right? The eternal truth is, I heard what you said. You gave a lot of descriptors, right? Like I wouldn't be liked by people, by kids, by pet animals. But what's the eternal truth then? I'm a safe, loving, kind woman. That may be it. Because I say that because you really need to counter the voice with the truth as one of your practices. I want to just go back because when I hear I'm not good enough for me, I'm going to be very honest. This is my core belief is I'm disgusting. I've been a woman of weight all my life. I've lost a significant amount of weight, but I was told I was disgusting since I was a child. So I grew up with that. That was my core belief. And I didn't break that until I really created a new one. Yeah, I'm a therapist, extraordinary woman, but that was a working model. And when I'm in, I am disgusting. I act different. I make different decisions because when I'm in my eternal truth that I am part of a divinity, I completely come from a different place too. So first is where do I feel I am disgusting? And for me, because I was so large, it was really in my body. I come from size 0 and size 2 family. I was not either of those.
Oh.
I had to recognize where was it living in my body and what was a new truth. And where does I am divinity or I'm an aspect of divinity? It completely is a whole body experience. That feels differently. So I know the difference. I can practice with that. I can play with that. And I do exactly what we're talking about tonight is I talk about it. You guys did in your group. Because the more airtime, and I don't mean we share it with anybody. I mean intentionally go, I'm working on this. I'm looking to release this because this is the truth. I would spend more time talking about your truth though. So we don't want to wire to the past. We want to wire to the future. Does that make sense?
Yep. Is this similar to like the body holds the score or like the pain in your body, why you get inflammation and why you have chronic pain and illness?
We spoke about that in class 3. Yeah, the body does keep score. It's everywhere. So even the shame that mom or dad gave you is still alive in some of your cells. That's why it keeps coming back. And that you need to give that. When we talk about the inner child or the younger version of yourself, it could be the adolescent, it could be the 20-year-old, it could be the first heartbreak. When that part of you gets activated and your body remembers that, it's like, oh, what did you really need then? I really needed someone to just say, you're lovable.
Oh.
You're loved. Didn't get that. I got a lot of judgment. I'm disgusting, or you're disgusting, Claudine. That's what I got. It's my job to go back and give that and to be around people who can also witness my greatness and go, yeah, you are love. You are beautiful. Yeah, thank you.
So why is it easier to have empathy and compassion for others that like my heart bleeds for you, but I can't do it for myself?
It's typical, right? Because we're in the core belief. That core belief doesn't deserve that compassion. That core belief doesn't deserve that love. But you can see it in me. This is what I say. Talk to yourself as a 5-year-old. And if you can't do it for yourself as a 5-year-old, then do it for someone else or for a pet. Because you will never speak to a 5-year-old version of yourself or another 5-year-old the way we talk to ourselves or what we allow ourselves. Often we can have more empathy for a younger age of ourselves. So I actually keep a picture of myself too. One is my baby picture on my refrigerator, and a picture of myself when I'm 6 years old. And often I got to look at that picture. I was not a happy child. It's not a happy child until I really became an adult and I had my breakthroughs. That when I look, my mother looks at these pictures of me and she'll go, "Oh my God." And I'll say, "Yeah, it's a lot of pain." Not now, but there was a lot of pain. So going back, have empathy, I would say, for a younger part of yourself. I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. Yes. So Hal, I appreciate you mentioned we're our worst critic. I do something called positive intelligence. We all have certain saboteurs or self-limiting beliefs or self-sabotage. Whatever words we want to call this, we all have patterns of how we're talking to ourselves. And one of them that we all have universally is the judge or the critic, Hal. You're right. And we are out to judge ourselves and others and circumstances all the time. So the voice, I think, you just shared is, you say, "Oh, this is the voice of my mother," but now it's the voice of me. So thank you. Anybody else want to share anything that came up? Any practices? I'm really curious about support because people don't tend to also think about asking for help. I need is some of the least used words authentically between people. I know we can go, "Oh, I need respect, I need love, I need safety and security." I agree, all those, I need them too. But in relationship, I have a need right now. I'm working on something. Can you support me? Right? We go farther with accountability and witnesses. We know that. We know that we get to our habits, practices 70 to 90% with greater outcomes when we have somebody witnessing us. That's a big difference. I really want to encourage people to say, "I need." Thank you for sharing.
I was
Okay.
going to say one
Sure.
thing that's coming up for me at the moment is, I run a men's support group that's specifically for us guys because for myself and many of the men that I know, we brought up being on our own and alone. It's like we have to be self-sufficient. We have to take care of ourselves. And the biggest, falsehood in any of that is we always need support. And that's why I put together this group of guys and stuff to do this so that we are holding each other accountable. We are there to empathize with each other. We're there to be able to give our own, it's like, this is what's going on for me, because it might inspire the others. And working with a coach, at least, or in group work, is always a wonderful thing because you can work together and it's not just on your own and alone.
Completely. Thank you for sharing that. Particularly men, you're right, are socialized much more to be, I'll use the phrase, lone wolves. Handle it. You should be able to handle it, right? Don't show emotions. A lot of socialization and expectations put on men. So I thank you for doing the work with other men, Hal. I see a question was like, where else can you find support besides therapy? But yeah, there's group coaching programs. I have the Alchemy of Love as, a 12-week group program. I will also say where I have also found there's a few items. One is Meetup, right? Meetup is, meetup.org. You really can find groups that are doing anything. Yes, taking walks together. I belong to a meetup that does games because I'm a classic board game person, roll the dice back in those days, not electrical or electronics. And tea. I'm big in tea ceremony. I follow Chinese tea standards. And those group of women and men that come together once a month, and we really create a sacred space. So one would be Meetup. Facebook has something called events. I would also encourage you to look at events. A lot of them you'll see are recurring. So it's going to be a similar group of people. The other place I go to is called Eventbrite. And yes, there's prices to Eventbrite. I mean, whereas Meetup is usually donation based or maybe $10, right? These are activities that you're going to go to through Eventbrite. I would say that's one of the other places. And for women, we have something called Red Tent. Yes, it was created when we all menstruated together, but it's now become like a sisterhood. So I would look for those kind of groups. Is there sisterhood groups? I want to tell you the 12-step program, right? Let's be really clear here. Addictions are our way of coping with pain. I've had a food addiction. I literally all my life. I know that. So 12-step, they have it for codependency. We have sponsors, we have witnesses. The concept of 12 steps is brilliant for healing. Though its focus is on an addiction to stop a behavior, it's much bigger than that. So I would also tell you that would be another place. CODA is Codependence Anonymous, because it's an extraordinary group for looking at the patterns. Because you will see almost any pattern in relationships in the CODA material. It's like something like 20 something, aspects to look for. And you're going to be like, oh my God, I see that. I see that. I see that. So CODA is also another code. Like I said, Codependence Anonymous is another place. Addicted to my patterns. Yes. There you go. Hi, I'm Hal. I'm addicted to my patterns. Sure. What's going on with the computer? Come on, wake up.
I have something else to share. I'm having a revelation regarding mother's stuff, and thank you again, Maggie, for the we had a great discourse. Thank you for that. It was awesome. And as I'm sort of processing it, I'm sitting here realizing that the pattern of me keeping people in my life that hurt me, it is the pattern of what went on with her. And the irony, as I understand it now, as I've said out loud, I didn't even like these people. I just said yes because they were giving me love. I didn't even so when someone who I don't so like I love my mother very much. She's very flawed. She's got her stuff. But I wouldn't prefer to live her life. I left the religion. She tried to choke down my throat. I she's not my hero and the person I look up to and the one whose approval and praise that I want. But because she rejected me, I got into that thing where I was like, nah, you're gonna see my worth again. What happened here? Because we got along so well until I was about 6 years old, and then something changed and shifted, and I felt rejected by her. So now I see unconsciously I'm repeating the pattern of wanting to not be rejected by someone that I wouldn't even think that I would care about their rejection or not. Like it shouldn't. So what I would like to change, and the revelation I'm having is I want to declare that I want to put more value on people who I already value. I want to put value in the opinions of people who like me when I think they're amazing. If someone who I think is a great, upstanding, intelligent person showing up in the world in a big and beautiful way, and if they say to me, "You're amazing, Jenny Lynn," I'll go, "Well, thank you." That I would take to heart. But if someone rejects me and I don't even like them and I don't like how they live and I don't like who they show up as a person, I should be like, all right, then, bless you. Like, I'll let you on your way. And
Yes.
instead of having that trigger send me down the hole. So I would like to change the emphasis of who I give the time of day to or mental, yeah, this is very profound. Thank you. Whoa.
You're welcome. Here it is. Tax Day, April 15th, 2025. That is a strong awareness, declaration, and new pattern. Like you're really saying there's a new action for you.
Yeah.
Because you're recognizing it's repetition compulsion is really we recreate. We recreate what we knew to recreate the same experience. So there's the pattern. When I say this biochemically, that's the wiring. We are neurologically wired to create that. What you're saying is, I'm going to break that. It's not just mental. It is neurologically, biologically, we're talking about breaking patterns. So we understand this. Right?
Yes.
Because we get drawn and you're going to get attracted to that like flies or moths to light, right? It's like, oh, that's typical. So, right. Oh, no, my focus is going to be on the extraordinary already in my life. Going to give them more. Whoop, whoop.
Yes.
And other people are getting that too. Kimberly is right there with you.
I love that. I never understood when I would see people have an altercation and someone would say, "Well, you're da 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 da," and this person, instead of being rejected, would clap back at them and say, "Look at yourself. Look who's talking." I would be like, "Whoa, I could never turn it around on somebody." Like, I just
Yes.
wouldn't think about someone else's flaws. I would think only of the rejection, and it would be my whole world in that moment.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so I don't want to choose to move forward in life feeling like someone who will inevitably be rejected.
Excellent. These, right. And the reason I'm also like putting micro practices with your awareness right here is because to stay in the awareness, we're going to need to practice either a new affirmation, a new behavior, like some reassurances. Like, where does it live in you? The rejection.
Oh,
James.
like in my gut, like a sucker punch.
Yeah. And where does it, when you said, you should have heard the change in your affect when you were like, but I have these amazing people in my life, these awesome people who see that in me. Where did that live in your body?
It feels more like behind me, like a wings,
Ah,
yeah,
mm.
it lifts me up.
What
And I
experience would
love
you like?
celebrating people who are doing amazing things. I love
Yeah.
supporting people who I love and support.
Body scan told us a lot right now, right? Right. When I support that, I feel, I can even feel like butterfly wings coming out of your sides.
Mhm.
Sucker punch though, when I'm back in the rejection cycle.
Mhm.
Oh,
Mhm.
right. That is the noticing. So this is not just, I'm going to just kind of say this new line and my pattern will be broke. No, I got to tune into the body, maybe
Mhm.
use an affirmation, my breath, the reassurance. This is uncomfortable. This is not dangerous, right? Because this is not familiar to us. Remember, the brain is wired for protection. So this would be like, whoa, 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 what is sucker punch? I know sucker punch. What are we talking about? Wings. That celebrating people. We know rejection. It's not that we're out to get us. We're just out to keep ourselves safe in familiarity.
Right.
So it's not like we're working against, it's like we have to give ourselves a new experience and reinforce it and reinforce it. And
Right.
again, allow our community to help us reinforce it. The more
Right.
you celebrate other people, it's going to reinforce the standard in which you get to be celebrated.
Right. So that neurologically you have proof that there is safety in positive experiences or positive relationships.
Yeah. When you did this, did that feel safe and expansive at the same time? When you feel the people and you're, like you said, I feel something on my back, I feel uplifted. Did that experience feel safe to you?
Not entirely. It felt a little exposed,
Yeah.
like going out on a limb a little bit. Like,
There's some discomfort, but right there, it's moving towards safety. It's
mhm,
not familiar.
mhm,
It's not familiar. It's okay. So we don't want to lie to our body. I'm leaning into it. Yeah, it's not
mhm,
comfortable, but I'm moving towards safety.
mhm.
Okay.
And I recognized too that I wasn't allowed to have needs with her. She's extremely overbearing and tyrannical in a way. And so if I wanted to say to her as a kid, "Whoa, your stress is stressing me out. I need for us
Yeah,
to talk calmly," she would say, "You don't get to have me. I'm the mother. You're the I'm not your friend. I'm your mother."
all that.
So it would
Yeah,
be like, yeah. So
yeah,
addressing needs has been a huge thing for me in life. But also now understand to pick battles is almost more important than addressing needs because some people just cannot meet them, and I do
yeah,
know that.
yeah. And honestly, I will say picking battles with those same people will not actually equal
Exactly.
out anything either.
Yeah, it's a waste.
Back to the cycle. Back to the cycle.
Mhm,
Well, thank you.
mhm.
Great,
Thank
great
you.
awarenesses.
Thanks so
Right.
much.
You're welcome. I'm aware of the time. I don't always get there we go. Want to see if we could do a quick visualization. Is everyone feel game on that one? Feel like they have the time spare, right? We just want to invite everyone then to take a moment. We're just going to shift for a second. If you want to lay down, if you want to just put your notebook aside, again, there's a companion handout that I will be sending to everybody who's attended and registered. Just want to take a moment to shift into a more reflective moment. I invite you to gently close your eyes if you feel comfortable, or soften your gaze. If you feel supportive, you can put one hand over your heart and the other one on your belly. Just take some slow breaths. Just notice it. There's no change. You don't need to change your breath. Just want to be a witness to the inhale and the exhale. Let your breath become the anchor that has you arrive here. I want you to gently call the mind a moment. Not too big of one, not too overwhelming one, where you typically react or shut down in a relationship. Could be with a partner, a parent, a friend, or even yourself. Just imagine that moment like a scene in a movie. Like you're watching yourself begin to react. Start to see it. This time, something is going to shift. This time, in the movie, watch yourself take a breath. Listen to yourself say, this is not familiar. Instead of pulling away, over explaining, or blaming, you're just going to pause and soften. You're going to choose connection instead this time. See yourself speaking honestly. Maybe you'll say something like, I don't want to disconnect. I want to try this again. See the other person actually hear you, actually receive what you said. See their facial expression change as they look at you. Feel the openness that you're sharing between you. Allow this moment to unfold with compassion for both of you with ease. Let your body feel what it's like to feel rooted in the presence. Even if it's hard, just for this moment, just visualize this. Let yourself rehearse a new way of being in connection and love, a way of a conscious, safe, courageous connection. I want you to take one more deep breath. It's time to take a full belly breath. When you're ready, just bring your self-awareness back to this space. Look at your toes. Feels right. You can open your eyes when you want. The gift of visualization is you can always practice the future you. And the more that you practice being the future you, you're starting to wire to it. The emotions, your verbalizations, the experience with another person. So there's a gift in this practice of guided visualizations. I just really want to encourage people to consider that. Thank you for giving me that. So as we end tonight, I just want to see, we had one big declaration. Anyone else got a declaration? Or any new belief they want to anchor in? Anyone have anything? I'm going to tell you, I'm anchoring in a new belief about being a retreat leader. I just had my first retreat that I've run, and I'm going to be doing more. And it's like, right, so I am actually believing in myself as a retreat leader. That's breaking a cycle for me because my dyslexia always had me believe that I could never be effective, impactful, and influential. That is where I'm going to stand for tonight. Anybody else? Thank you. You're wonderful. Appreciate the compliment. Anybody else want to share one? The power of declaration of what you just watched Jalen do.
I'm decreeing. Oh, sorry. I'm decreeing
No.
that. Oh, I'm decreeing that the next relationship I'm in is going to be one that I want as much as they do. That I want to be there. Yeah.
Oh, what's that feel like? I listening to that, I felt excitement in my chest. What was that like for you, Kimberly?
Good. I mean, I've been accepting that being chosen and loved for a really long time. Yeah, so there needs to be that. I'm not going to do that again. I can't. I don't think I could survive it. Yeah.
I'm going to allow myself to be chosen and loved. It's a big declaration. Thank you.
Well, and choosing back. I've been chosen and loved a whole lot. I want to love back. Yeah. Yeah. Like you have said, Jenilyn. Yeah.
All right. The act of declaration is very important. It's really why we're pausing here. Even if you don't say it to us tonight, I would encourage you to do this tonight somewhere out loud in the mirror, because it is an invitation to the universe. You're setting a new course. I declare I'm going here. It's a very powerful self-expression that you really are the navigator of your life. You are the author. You are the captain. Right? It's take the power back. So I think it's real important that we, however we want to do that. And if you could be witnessed, be witnessed. If not, witness yourself. So I think there's a lot of power in declaring. So tonight, wherever we are, these are just some things that I do in my own practices, daily check-ins. What would love do now? What is most loving for me? I think I've shared this probably in almost every one of our classes. It's one of the mottos I live by. One of my practices is asking, what is most loving for me? Because if I'm coming from love and I'm generating that, I know that I'm going to generate it in relationship to whomever I'm with, right? And where did I choose connection? Because I know when I choose disconnection. So, right, anything that's going to have us be in a reflection of place, right? What would love do now is also a great question to ask. Because I remember I said before, am I doing it from love or for love? We always want to be doing it from love, but conditioning and patterns have us sometimes do it differently. So I'm going to tell you this. I put it in the chat. I want to encourage people to go into our Facebook group, join there, add whatever you'd like in terms of, but I would practice a real life script. Again, you're going to get all of these things in your guide, right? So if it's, I really want to be in connection right now. Can you say that again? Or I didn't understand you and I really want to. Something, right? I'm going to encourage you to practice. Do a declaration. When I have tracking an emotional shift, right? When we pause and do one of the mini practices that we've talked about, that's an emotional shift. That's a state shift. And again, use the companion guide. I will get that out in the coming days. And I welcome you there. So as we say goodnight, and we always do traditionally, it's a thank you for being here tonight. Let softness lead your way. But thank you for your courage, your vulnerability, your sharing. You make this work, right? It is about that. So everyone courageously who's taken notes and shared, I would ask everyone to come off mute and say one word that captures where they're feeling right now after taking this class. And I can start it, but I would just ask everyone to come off mute if they can, or Hal, if you can unmute everybody and what that word would be. No?
You have to come off mute yourself. I can't unmute you.
Oh, thank you. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I'm grateful. Anybody else?
Grateful was my word.
Grateful. Anyone else?
Understood.
Inspired.
Inspired, yeah.
Yeah.
Loving.
Courageous.
Love that word, courageous. Hal, I didn't hear yours.
Consciousness.
Consciousness. That makes sense. So thank you for tonight. We'll have another class on the 3rd Tuesday in May. And I encourage everyone to come into the Facebook group. Oh, okay. Thank you, Dee. I will put you in there, or however that works. I admit. And come back for the next 2 classes, and you will get a recording of this. So I think somebody had asked me that. You will get a copy of the link for the recording with the companion guide. I want to thank everyone for trusting me this evening and trusting each other, because we heal in community and being witnessed. Much
Blessings.
love to everybody. And so thank you.